And we welcome you to the first ever Close Call Sports Ask Us Anything 30,000 subscriber special. I guess, Lindsay, it's our first Ask Us Anything, but it's also the last 30,000 subscriber special because we've passed that now and are at over 31 or something like that.
Technically correct. The best.
So let's get to it.
Yes.
Let's get to it, shall we? First question from Joe George. What are your day, evening, regular jobs? Lindsay, you're up first.
Oh, this is such a hard question. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel, all of that fun stuff. All right, so let's see, what do I do? It's summer now, so mostly I'm doing baseball. I'm also doing a little basketball officiating, and I'm also doing securities law, basically taking federal and regulatory decisions and writing it in a user-friendly way. I'm also the president of the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council, the lowest form of government that there is here in Los Angeles. And during the winter, in addition to basketball officiating, I also play the organ for the Anaheim Ducks Hockey Club.
Yeah, when I'm not doing this, I broadcast college basketball for a number of different outlets. And in addition to that, I'm basically a stay-at-home dad, and I umpire quite a bit. The summers are taken up by indie ball this year in the Frontier League for year 18 of independent professional baseball. Okay, question 2. This actually came from several people, kind of an amalgamation question. Lindsay, how did you decide to start the website? And this is going to be a double-pronged question and the UEFL. What was your idea behind it, and how did it get underway?
Well, this must have been, well, let's see. The story begins with officiating.
In 2 minutes or less, by the way.
Well, you know what? This is going to be therapy for me, so why not? Let's just go there. In 8th grade, that's when we had in school sort of a year-end activity. It was a staff for students. I forgot what sport it was, but it was some sort of a game. Staff team versus the students team, and I noticed there was one official, one referee, that was a staff member, and I thought, that's not fair. And if you're old enough like me to remember, back in the old days of baseball, there was, when you get to the World Series, AL versus NL, or the All-Star game, or whatever it was, you'd have a split squad. You'd have half of the officials come from the AL and half of them from the NL. And I thought, why not have a split squad for a 2-person crew for this game? So I became the student official, and from there I just got further into it, go to college, learn more about that, do intramural sports, do every sport under the sun. And oh, by the way, this ejection thing, that's kind of interesting. There's no umpire stats at the time for baseball. And I thought, well, what's something that would be kind of easy and fun to do? And just count ejections, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that just evolved into, let's try to do quality of correctness for these ejections. And then furthermore, let's now try to talk about the rules of the game, explain the plays. And now we are where we are.
So we are where we are. And several people have asked this question, kind of, that was full backstory. Now let's get to the present. What in the world happened to the Fantasy League?
This website has gotten so popular relative to what it used to be, and I've gotten so busy with various work activities, I simply don't have time to do the work necessary. We used to do a huge spreadsheet for charting every single ejection, and Tim, you still chart replays, and I don't know how you do it because it's so time consuming for me to do anything, but it was a huge spreadsheet charting every ejection with every variable imaginable. I think it's still on the portal, which I'm not allowed to edit, by the way. The UEFL portal at portal.closecallsports.com. I can't edit it because Google sort of updated their Google sites, and I'm no longer allowed to edit the old site, but it still sits there, just sitting there. Anywho, we would do like, it would be date, it would be numbers, sleeve number, the name, the position, the score at the time, the score that was final, how many runs were scored after, the inning, top, bottom, day, night, day of the week. There were just so many peculiar little variables. My favorite statistic is that players who tend to get ejected from these games, more often than not, fail to have more than one hit at most in the game, usually zero, though. So it just got too time consuming to do all of that stuff. And I hear that we have some interest in doing a league. And if you are willing to go back to the bare bones thing that we did before, which is simply tracking, you've had this many ejections in the year, I can do that. But all the detailed stats, that's kind of a little much for me at this point.
Okay. Ben Weeby asked, and Ben, here's a little thing we're going to do today and possibly for future AMAs. We're going to send you a gift card from Out West Officials. Just at random, Out West Officials donated some gift cards. They're also known as that for this AMA. So thank you to them. And we're going to send you on. We'll be in contact, Ben. And his question is, what made you interested in umpiring? And Lindsay, why don't you take that first?
Honestly, it was my parents' divorce. I wanted to get some control over something, and it just turned into an ADHD related obsession on the rules and things of this nature. And you get hyperfixations and you get super into something and you can't put it down, and that was officiating for me.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a little bit of extra money while I was playing. And I remember we were getting $10 a game. And I advanced after 15 games to the $12 threshold. And then I wanted to advance to the next threshold was with $15. And then I was super excited. And then there were no more thresholds. And I, ended up, I ended up becoming the assigner of that. And that's another story altogether in a number of different levels. But yeah, I just kind of got into it. My dad umpired as a volunteer. That probably was a little bit of the allure to it. But yeah, for me, it was just about making extra money through college and kind of made a minor career out of it along the way. Got real lucky in a lot of situations. Next question. Okay, this is the one that everybody wants to know. Lindsay, I have to find it here. Why did you decide to have your name with an A at the end for Lindsay instead of with an E? So inquiring minds want to know, Lindsay, why is it Lindsay and not Lindsay? And how do you pronounce it? Just so I'm even clear.
Lindsay is the way to pronounce it, but look, I have been called Lynn, Lind, Linz. So
that's mine. I call you that.
Yeah, you call me that, and I like it. And at work, because the Ducks, the jersey on the back, because it says organist, and that there's a character limit of 12. So my name is limited to 3 letters. So Lynn it is, just due to that restriction. That's why I have so many nicknames. But in terms of the A versus E issue, oh God, I was thinking, what should we go with, an A or an E? And I'll get political on it because that is literally how I chose. On Twitter, Lindsey Graham was trending for doing some terrible thing about LGBTQ rights, and I was like, I don't want to be associated with that, so I have to choose the A.
That question, by the way, was from OU Darling on YouTube. Thank you for that little humor. Another question that is kind of a quick hitter here, Linz. If you could have a beer with one major league umpire, who would you choose? Can I answer that one first?
Yeah.
Because to me, this is an easy one. Because he's by all accounts, I've never met him. Everybody tells me great guy, and considering all the abuse that he's taken over the years, I kind of would like to hang out, even if he doesn't partake in the alcohol portion. Angel Hernandez, and maybe we can talk about things that aren't about baseball, and you get to know the man, because by all accounts, here is a fantastic human, and based on everything that's happened to him, he has every reason not to be.
Of everyone on staff, I want to ask Dan Bellino about the Bumgarner play. No, I've actually talked to him about it already, but I would still like to do some. Of all the people, when I transitioned, Dan was the person who came to me first to be super supportive and has been great ever since.
Oh, that's a really nice story.
Yeah.
You know, I think that one of the things that surprised me about our audience was how supportive they've been of you. And even when I go out and umpire my college games and the games in the Frontier League, people are always saying, you know, say hello to Lindsay for me. And I never do, you know. So for all the people that have said, hey, say hello to Lindsay for me, I'm doing it right now. They're all saying hello. Scott 9002 CA asks you, has the Major League Baseball ever approached you about anything regarding your videos or suggestions? Well, I mean, they're using our challenge system. They've basically taken everything that I've written about the replay and used it, Lynn. So what kind of input have you gotten from Major League Baseball regarding your videos?
The only time I have actually gotten a formal call from the office was when they didn't like something that we did. This was several years ago, and I didn't break the story, but I put it on our website, closecallsports.com, just an entry. It wasn't a video, it was just an entry saying Bob Davidson's retiring. It was the final day of that season. And they call the next day, they're like, how do you have this proprietary internal information? You can't be sharing secrets, trade secrets or whatever. And I was like, all right, I'm actually prepared for this. And this sort of informed our best practices we use for news stories on the website. Is I sent them a link to the game notes for the Angels, mentioned that it was Bob's last MLB game. The public address announcer, Mike Araujo, announced that it was Bob Davidson's last game. Please give a applause. I don't know if anyone did or not, because it's the Angels and no one was there. And it was tweeted out by an Angels beat reporter. So I realized that as long as the facts are on your side, and this goes for anything rules related, you're good to go. It's the same thing where we get copyright claims on the videos on here, and I say, kind of doing a lot of editing and rules analysis. And the reason that the video format changed from just letting it ride to one where I'm very actively narrating and doing rules jumps and things like that is because I want to make sure that I stay on the proper side of fair use so that I don't get in trouble for putting these videos up.
Next question for you. How do you keep up with all of these video outputs during the season from JMSF 32, especially this year with so many ejections and weird plays? It must take a lot out of you to keep up. Stay well and stay great, CCS. Thanks for the question, JMSF 32. So how do you do it? I wonder. I don't know when you're sleeping these days myself.
I don't either. Well, I mean, that's a good thing about progesterone is you basically get to make your own sleep schedule by when you take the thing. But
I'll pass.
Yeah, the way that I keep up is simply I never think about an alternative. I have to do it. If there's an ejection, I cannot not do it. At very worst, I can put it off till the next morning, but I will always do these videos because that is what we are dedicated to doing. How do I keep up with it? I just make sure I do it. Even if I have so many other things, and you know, I have council meetings that I go to, and injection happens during the council meeting. It's like, I can't do this now. And then you get home and realize I have to do a video at 11 p.m. now. Wonderful. And it's similar if I'm going out with a friend or something like that, which doesn't happen often. I don't have friends, but when I do, you get home at like 11 o'clock and you have to go to work and do a video. It can take an hour, it can take 2 hours to do. 2 hours for 2 minutes. How is that for a rate of return? But I started getting headaches because who wouldn't? And I actually got these blue light glasses because it was just sort of, and you know, I turned the night shift on the computer and I try to lower the, I work on all these things. I got some arm issues because I was doing this and I was doing that and whatever. But you just power through, and I've just never thought about the alternative of not doing it. So yeah, that's pretty much the answer. Is I just don't think about it. I just do.
Last question. I love your channel for the explanation of the rules from Papa Van Chui 5. And I love John Boy's breakdowns for the lip reading. Is there any chance you do a collaboration with them?
Yeah, if they approach me, I'd be open to that. John Boy's like the king of this area in terms of he has all the market share, and I just bottom feed. I'm like plankton. And so if John Boy wanted to do something, I'd be open to it. But I also know my place, and I know that my place is this tiny speck in this world of YouTube baseball people.
I tell people, you go to John Boy to be entertained, you come to us for the facts. I mean, it's really all it is. It's a fantastic entertainer. But sometimes, you know, kind of like the mainstream news, if you don't dig and know the right places to go, you can't find the nuance to things. And there's no doubt in umpiring, there is quite a bit of nuance. So that is going to wrap up this Ask Us Anything, first ever here at Close Call Sports. And if you like this, give us a thumbs up. Give us what do you call it? A subscribe. I'm bad at the promos here on the fly, but hit one of the buttons that isn't a thumbs down and write a comment. And maybe we'll do another one of these because we know how much it connects us with our longtime users, and we much appreciate it. And Lindsay, I got about 4 dozen other questions to ask. So
aren't we doing a part 2, like right after this?
Well, but we're not supposed to say that right now. So as for that, let's retry that, or maybe just put it all together. But
I don't know how to edit Zoom.
Yeah, this is probably all going to come out in the thing. But anywho, now I'm just going to wear the same stuff. Don't need to change at all. Thank you, Out West officials.
I'm a girl. I'm just going to change this.
Yeah. On behalf of Lindsay, I'm Tmac. Happy umpiring, everyone.